Okay, here's our problem. It's a little blurry, so I will read it for you. It says, to make green paint, students mixed yellow paint with blue paint. The table below shows how many yellow, blue drops from a dropper several students used to make the same shade of green paint. Complete the table. So here's our table, and we are going to want to create the same ratio of yellow to blue, because when I create the same ratio of yellow to blue, I'm going to make sure that I get the same shade of green. That is the only way that's going to happen. So, once again, we need to look at what information I know and what information can I use. So, I know a couple yellows, I know a couple blues, and I know one total. So I'm going to use what I know combined to help me out here. Here I know the amount of yellow, which is 3.5, and I know the amount of blue, which is 5 1/4. I'm going to use that ratio between the two of them to figure out all of them. So I'm going to start by dividing 5 1/4 divided by 3.5. So remember on your calculator how to type in fractions. I have 5, and with the ABC button, make it a lot easier, and 1/4. And from there, I'm going to divide 3 and 1/2. When I do that, I should get 1 1/2. That is going to be my unit rate. 1 and 1/2. Okay? What that means is that my yellow paint, I can multiply times 1 1/2 to end up with my blue paint. Same thing with my blue paint, I can divide by 1 1/2 to end up with my yellow paint. So, take a look. What do I know? I know I have 6 3/4 of blue here. 6 3/4, I should be able to divide by 1 1/2 to get my amount of yellow. So, 6 3/4, 6 3/4 divided by 1 1/2, and I should get 4 1/2. So 4 1/2 is the amount of yellow that I have here. 4 1/2. Okay. I can keep going from there. I can do this next one. Next one says 6 1/2. All right, let me make this a little bit better for you guys so you can see it. Trust me, it does say 6 1/2. There we go, a little bit better. 6 1/2. So we are going to multiply by 1 1/2. So 6 1/2 and 1/2. And I'm multiplying by 1 1/2 because I should have more blue paint than I have yellow paint. And I will get an answer of 9 3/4. So 9 3/4. Okay. Now remember for my total. Total means the total amount. So I can add up the yellow and the blue to give me my total. So 3 1/2 plus 5 1/4 is going to give me 8 3/4. Once again, if you cannot solve it in your head, you can always do it on your calculator. So I have the next one. 4 1/2 plus 6 3/4. 4 1/2 plus 6 3/4 is going to give me 11 1/4. That is my total. 11 1/4. Next one. 6 1/2 plus 9 3/4. 6 1/2 plus 9 3/4. 16 1/4. 16 1/4. And I have my last one here, which I don't know my yellow and I don't know my blue. All that I know is the total amount of green paint that I do want. So I'm going to need to compare one of the ratios I have. I'm going to have to compare something to the total. So I can compare my blue to my total if I'd like. I can compare my yellow to my total if I like. I'm going to choose blue to the total, because then I can compare this blue to this total. So I'm going to take this number and I'm going to divide it by my blue. So I have 8 3/4, 8 3/4, and I'm going to divide that by 5 1/4. 5 1/4. I get 1 2/3. So that means that to change from my blue to my total, I multiply times 1 2/3. Or I can do the opposite and take my total and I can divide by 1 2/3 to get to the amount of blue. So I know my total, and so I'm going to divide to get that answer. So I'm not going to show it, but on your calculator, 5 divided by 1 2/3 should give me my amount of blue, which in this case happens to be 3. So I can either subtract 5 minus 3, or I could try to use what I had before, this 1 1/2, 3 divided by 1 1/2. But I can look at this and I already can tell what the answer is, because I know that 2 plus 3 does equal 5. So therefore, that is the amount of yellow I'm going to have.